garden was quiet, but not empty. Olive trees stood still as if they understood the weight of the moment. The earth felt heavy beneath his knees. He fell to the ground, not from fear, from obedience. Sweat fell from his brow like drops of blood, and heaven leaned close. I had been sent to him before, when hunger pressed him into the dust after 40 days without bread. But this night, in the olive trees, I was told to stand still. The air was thick, not with sound, with weight. Something ancient pressed against the darkness. Centuries of rebellion leaned toward this moment. The enemy whispered, escape, delay, another way. He knew the cost. The cross was not a surprise to him. He felt the weight of every wound it would carry, every betrayal, every hidden sin, every violent hand, every silent shame. And still he prayed, Father, if there is another way. The earth waited for the answer. Then he said it. Not my will, yours. And heaven went silent. We were ready. Legions stood at the edge of command, ranks upon ranks of burning ones waiting for a word. One command, and the garden would have become fire. But the Father spoke, and we did not move. Love chose restraint. Then the torches appeared, boots crushed the soil, armor clattered through the olive branches, steel flashed in the night. They thought they were coming for a man. They did not see what moved among them. Fear spread through their hearts like smoke, voices hardened. Rage grew without reason. A kiss landed, betrayal breathed close, chains wrapped innocence. He stepped forward, whom do you seek? Jesus of Nazareth. And he answered, I am, not shouted, not forced, spoken like the voice that once said, let there be light. The garden shook. Men fell backward as though the air itself struck them. Torches scattered, armor clanged against stone. For one breath, creation remembered. The name that split the sea, the name that thundered on Sinai, the name demons had feared since the beginning. We waited. One word, and the night would have ended. But he did not look at us. He looked at them. And when they stood again, confused and trembling, he allowed them to bind him. Not because they were stronger, because he chose to stay. They dragged him through the night from accusation to accusation. Truth stood silent, while fear grew loud. Pilate had seen violence before, Rome was built on it. But this prisoner unsettled him. There was no rebellion in his eyes, no hatred in his voice, only clarity. Pilate searched for a crime and found none, but the crowd did not want justice, they wanted blood. Fear moved through the crowd like a tide. Crucify him. The chant grew, not born from conviction, but carried by influence. Pilate felt it. The pressure of a mob is louder than the voice of conscience. So he made a calculation. If blood would quiet them, blood he would give. He ordered the scourging, and hell leaned closer. The lash cut through the air, leather struck flesh, iron tore muscle, each blow opened his back. Men had died under fewer strikes. Stronger men had collapsed sooner. Yet he remained standing, not untouched by pain, but sustained through it. Isaiah had seen this centuries before. Marred beyond recognition, blood struck the stone beneath his feet. Each strike tore flesh and declared worth, not his worth, yours. The lamb was being prepared. When they finished, they mocked him. A crown of thorns crushed into his brow, a robe thrown across torn shoulders. Then they brought him back before Pilate. Pilate stood when he saw him. He had never seen a man beaten so completely and still upright. Blood traced the floor beneath his feet. Pilate expected hatred. Instead, he saw sorrow, not for himself, for them, for Pilate. "Behold the man," he said, but the scourging had not satisfied the crowd. It had awakened something darker. "Crucify him." The voices multiplied and fear won. Pilate washed his hands, but water cannot cleanse surrender. They brought the beam, rough wood pressed into torn shoulders, splinters dug into open wounds, blood soaked into the grain. But it was not only timber he carried, it was betrayal, violence, hidden shame, the weight of every generation. He staggered, not because he was weak, because the burden was more than human flesh was meant to carry. Still, he walked, step by step, through dust, through blood, through a city that did not understand what it was witnessing. Once he fell, the earth felt it. But he rose again. They stretched his arms against the sky, the hammer lifted, iron-pierced flesh that had once formed galaxies. And heaven did not move, demons screamed in triumph, men gambled for his clothing. But what looked like defeat was invasion. Every drop of blood reclaimed ground, every breath tore chains apart. They saw a dying man. We saw a king dismantling hell. Then he spoke. "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing." Love held him there. Then he said the words that shook heaven and earth. "It is finished." Not a whisper of defeat, a declaration of victory. The earth trembled. Darkness covered the sky. The veil in the temple tore from top to bottom. Heaven opened the way. The Lamb had given his blood. Judgment would pass over. They took his body down. They sealed the grave, and hell celebrated too early. They thought death had swallowed him. They did not understand who had just entered their prison. The grave can hold prophets. The grave can hold kings, but it cannot hold the author of life. Something shifted in the depths. Chains that had bound humanity for centuries felt something new. Release. Because the grave was never a prison. It was a doorway. And when the third morning came, light touched the hills outside Jerusalem. The stone stood before the tomb as though it still had authority. But authority had already left it. Life stirred inside the grave. Not borrowed breath, not borrowed power. Life itself. Death had no claim left to argue. The stone moved. The grave released him. And he stood again. The scars remained not as wounds, as proof. Proof that love endured the cross. Proof that death had been broken. Proof that freedom had been purchased. We watched in awe. The same ranks of heaven that had stood silent in the garden now trembled with wonder, because the Lamb who was slain had become the King who conquered the grave. Victory did not roar, it rose like the dawn, and the grave learned that morning what hell had feared from the beginning. The Lamb cannot be contained. The cross was not the end. It was the price. And the empty tomb is the proof that love won.